This video is the exact reason why I make YouTube videos, is because I can show you a huge mistake I made and then you know never to make that same mistake. Hey, Nick from 9Card TCG, and today I'm going to be showing some gameplay footage of Chien Pao versus Gardevoir Mewtwo, which it was a really fun game to play. I do kind of like Chien Pao. It's really grown on me, being a very popular and prominent Pokemon in the Pokemon VGC, which I play, a decent amount. Why don't we go ahead, get straight into the gameplay footage. You can see my mistake, take it from there, never make it. Chien Pao, kind of fun. I recommend giving it a shot. Fist bump means the game is underway. I get to start with the Chien Pao. My opponent starting the vaults. They draw for turn. Immediately play the Art Zone. They're going to use it. Art Zone is a new card with Palkia Evolved. Let you search your deck for a basic non-rule box Pokemon and put it directly onto your bench. They're going to go second Ralt. You notice they've got the Ralts really quickly and didn't look through their prizes very fast, but that's going to be a big issue later. They go ahead, they're considering the attachment to the Ralt. They decide to Ultra Ball instead. They get two Mewtwo V Union pieces in the discard immediately. There's a third one in the deck, so you know that Mewtwo V Union is going to come out eventually. But here's where my opponent really sees the problem. They've prized a bunch of Curlias, so I think they only have one or two Curlias available to them for the entire game. The other two are prized. Absolutely devastating. So they're just going to go ahead and take a minute to search through and figure out what they want to get with this Ultra Ball. Eventually, he just settles on a third Ralt figure. Maximize the opportunity to use the Curlias when they can. And that's going to be it for my opponent for this turn. So now I get to draw for turn. We also have access to the Art Zone, right? We have things like the Bibarel that we can go ahead and start to set up. But first, we're going to play Hisuian Heavy Ball. Take a look at our prizes. I intelligently do not show the prizes to the camera, so that's always a lot of fun. I do recall there being a couple of water energies in there and a superior energy retrieval. We go ahead and I think there's also two Frigibacks in there, which is a little bit scary. We run 4 of them, so we're not super worried. And so I know if 2 are in the prizes, we have 2 in the deck, I can go ahead and grab one off of something like the Art Zone. But just things to keep in mind, right? I do have to always be a little bit worried of my opponent setting up and then, boss KOing that Frigibacks before I can get it to evolve into Baxcalibur, or at the very least having the opportunity to use a second Frigibacks and evolve if I want. Here I go with the Art Zone. I'm going to start taking a look through my deck, figure out some of I already saw the prizes, so I don't need to figure them out, but just kind of figure out what the best course of action for the rest of the turn will be. Go ahead, we get the Bidoof, because I can also use something like Irida to get a water Pokemon and an item. So that item can also be something like a Battle VIP Pass. It could be a rare candy and a Baxcalibur for the next turn. I do have to worry about my opponent playing something like an Iono to take the cards that I just got off of this Irida. If I do decide to go the rare candy Baxcalibur route, I have to be really cognizant that my opponent might use something like Iono next turn, or in some cases Judge, where they can really disrupt my hand, and now those cards go to somewhere back into the deck, and I wasted my Irida. So I kind of feel like it's better to get some cards that I can use right now off of the Irida, rather than get things to hold and hope they don't hit me with a little bit of hand disruption. So I settle on the Greninja Battle VIP Pass. And then we can go ahead and play the Battle VIP Pass to get 2 more Pokemon. One of them is going to be a Palkia V, which I already grabbed, kind of set to the bottom of the deck with the Irida. And then I can get a second Pokemon. I do elect to go with a second Frigibax. I already know what I'm going to do, because I did it yesterday. So I elected to get another Frigibax just as an insurance policy. At some point in the game, if they do boss KO my one Baxcalibur, I don't want to be left having no opportunities to use Sheer Claw or whatever the ability on Baxcalibur is. And now I do go with a Shivery Cold. The Chien Pao ability lets us go ahead and search a deck for 2 water energies and put them into our hand. It's a very, very good ability. So now that I have those 2 water energies in the hand, I can start to make some extra plays happen. I can use Radiant Greninja's concealed cards, discard a water energy, and draw 2. I attached to the Radiant Greninja, and you can already see where I'm going, starting to set up the Moonlight Shuriken and put some pressure on my opponent, but that's going to be it for me. Now my opponent gets to draw for turn. They're going to use the Auto Zone. They're going to start to set up some other Pokemon. At the very least, it just lets them search through their deck, see what they have, get just another look through it. They are going to go ahead and grab the Manaphy, which is the very smart choice because that concealed cards the Radiant Greninja is very threatening. The Level Ball is going to go ahead and get them one of the few Curlias that they have in this game. So, it's really important that they establish that early. And if I don't really know yet that they don't have they prized a bunch of Curlias, so something to keep in mind. I know this now, and I'm telling you, so you're like, oh, you should have done XYZ, but, I didn't know it at the time. So, Refinement on the Curlia lets them draw 2 cards, Reversal Energy, Ultra Ball, really good cards to pick up, and then it's just going to be an attachment to the Ralt and a Teleportation Burst for 10 damage, and they bring up the Ralt. So, I get to draw for turn. You can see my hand, I have a Lumineon that I would love to use to get an Irida, but first, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of their Auto Zone. I don't want them to establish any more Pokemon than they already have, so I get rid of the Auto Zone, put a Lost City into play. And because I can't bench the Lumineon, I have to figure out something else. I would really love the Irida. Now, here's the mistake. You can see I play Ultra Ball, and I get rid of an Iono, and eventually I'm going to get rid of a Cross Switcher. What I should have done was use Chivalry Cold on the Chien Pao, search for 2 water energies, and discard both of them with the Ultra Ball. Because then I could have gotten a Palkia VSTAR from the Ultra Ball and used Star Portal to get 3 energies out of the discard and attach them to my water Pokemon however I wanted. That would have been the better play. Or you could always make the argument for get 2 water energies and then concealed cards one of them, draw 2, and then depending on what I draw, Ultra Ball, the other water energy, and another card that probably is also a really good play because I get to see more cards, and I still put the same number of water energies in the discard, and I could have saved something like a Cross Switcher for later, which honestly is probably the better route. Chivalry Cold, get 2 water energies, concealed cards 1, draw 2, and then discard the other card with Ultra Ball and the water energy and something else with Ultra Ball. Get the Palkia, Star Portal. I did not do that. That's really what I should have done, and it would have maybe, I don't know if it would have changed the outcome of the game, but it definitely would have been the better play. So now I use Chivalry Cold, 1 action too late, but I'm still going to go ahead and grab those water energies, and while I'm in there, I am going to take account of how many water energies I have left in the deck, because it is very important to know. So now that I have some water energies in hand, I can go ahead and concealed cards, draw a nice 2, and we really want to still find a good supporter for the turn. Like I said, I don't want to Iono them. They didn't do a lot, so just trying to figure out the best course of action. We do decide to Star Portal. We get the 2 water energies. Could have been 3. But it was 2. My own misplay. But we're really just going to go ahead and get the 2 water energies onto the Chien Pao. These Ralts and things like Manaphies, they have more health than I would like. They often have 70 HP instead of 60. So because they have 70 HP, I have to discard 2 water energies instead of 1. We play Boss's Orders to get rid of the Manaphy. I want to really be able to use my Radiant Greninja and kind of crumble their board to the best of my ability. So that's kind of the plan, but we have to get rid of the 2 water energies. My opponent draws for turn, and this is a really good turn for my opponent. They go ahead and Refinement. They find a Reversal Energy. Now they have 2 in hand. And they have an Ultra Ball. They're going to go ahead and Ultra Ball away a Path to the Peak of Reversal Energy. Get the Luxray from Paldea Val that when you're behind on prizes, you can just play from your hand to the bench. Reversal Energy, it has, when you're behind on prizes, it counts as 3 energies, which is absolutely amazing. So they can just go ahead, attach that second Reversal Energy to the Luxray and attack instantly. So they go ahead, retreat the Ralts into the Luxray. They attach the Reversal Energy, bosses up the Palkia, which is weak to Lightning, and they hit for a big KO. I go ahead, I promote the Bidoof, and I probably could have promoted the Greninja to go ahead and just Moonlight Shuriken away at half of their board, really. That might have been the better play, but we go ahead, we attach the water energy to the Bidoof, so now we have a pivot. And because I have the bench space now, I can play Lumineon and go ahead and get an Irida. So the Irida is going to get me a rare candy Baxcalibur, which I will use right away. So there's the Irida. I just wanted to look for it and also take a look at the deck, make sure that I did have all the pieces I need to make this happen. There's the rare candy and the Baxcalibur. So now that I have them, I can play the rare candy and evolve straight to the Baxcalibur, skipping Arctibax entirely, which is pretty nice. And I still have the second Frigibax to set things up. Now you might be wondering, why did I promote the Bidoof? And the reason is because I have a few water energies in the discard already. It gives me a free pivot, and also I can get that water energy into the discard for superior energy retrieval. So this way now I can go ahead, get some water energies with Shivery Cold, and then use superior water energy or superior energy retrieval to get more water energies from the discard into the hand. Even after I Shivery Cold, like I'm doing right now, to get even more water energies, which I only have one left because there are 2 water energies prized. So I am capped on how much damage I can do at the moment. But again, I really wanted to deal with this Luxray, even though the Luxray probably, thinking back on it, it probably would have been smarter to knock out the 2, like the Kirlia and one of the Ralts with Moonlight Shuriken. Sure, they come back and KO the Radiant Greninja, but I still have the Chien Pao, I still have the Baxcalibur to KO the Luxray, so, you know, maybe a misplay on my end there as well. But we go ahead, use the superior energy retrieval. We have to discard 2 cards in order to use it, and we go ahead and get a bunch of water energies back from the discard that we can now put anywhere in play thanks to our Baxcalibur's super cold ability. And we are going to go ahead and set up the Chien Pao so we can attack. Regardless of how many water energies we discard, we still need 2 of them on the Chien Pao to even use Hailblade. And we'll get another one onto the Greninja. We can go ahead and get another one onto the Bidoof, just so again we have that free pivot. I also like it to, again, get the energy into the discard, have a pivot, and use superior energy retrieval like we did just this turn. So now we go ahead, we have to discard 3 energies from our Pokemon in order to KO that Luxray, but we do it. My opponent promotes the Ralts. They don't really have a ton of options, right? But they can now Iono me down to 4. They do Iono themselves down to 4 as well. So basically, a judge where our hands go to the bottom of the deck. So we're each gonna draw 4. They have a Mewtwo V Union piece. They have a Glade. They have a Level Ball. They really didn't find anything off of that Iono that would be particularly helpful. They could sure Level Ball. They would be able to get another Kirlia and start to use refinements, maybe evolve, but they're going to go and get a second Manaphy. I was so annoyed to find out that these decks run 2 Manaphys, specifically for the Chien Pao and Lost Zone matchups, because I could just power up Radiant Greninja super easily since I have to discard water energies after using Moonlight Shuriken. I can superior energy retrieval them back and then just use Baxcalibur. But yeah, that's kind of annoying. So they get the second Manaphy. They go ahead, use Refinement to get that third Mewtwo V Union piece into the discard. And they just need 1 more before they summon Exodia. And they do also have the Shining Arcana Gardevoir in hand that they just drew off of that Refinement. So they got a few things going, but really not much else. They just go ahead and pass. I draw for turn. This is where I know something might be a little off. They didn't, I don't know that they have the Gardevoir in hand, but they're really not doing anything. They're not finding more Kirlias or anything like that. They're not evolving anything. So kind of sense something's a little off, but I don't know exactly what yet. And you can see them getting those V Union pieces ready. But here comes another superior energy retrieval, so we can go ahead and get those energies out of the discard to power up Pokemon. The Pokemon Go Articuno that says your water type Pokemon attacks do 10 more damage would be super useful here, because then we only have to discard 1 water energy instead of the 2 to knock out like we do right now. Here comes another roll, so my opponent gets to draw for turn. Super Rod is a pretty good card. They have the Shining Arcana Gardevoir, so they can at least evolve, but they do use the Refinement first go ahead, see what they have. They finally find something like a Radiant Greninja. They can maybe draw a few extra cards off of that for after they evolve their one Curlia. They have the opportunity now to still draw some cards with concealed cards, so that's always a good plus. But they still really need to get that Mewtwo in play and start putting a lot of damage. Although if I do knock out that Mewtwo, I win the game because it does give up 3 prize cards. They go ahead and discard the Gardevoir EX and the Shining Arcana Gardevoir, but they find the last Mewtwo V Union piece, so that's always fun. They're going to go ahead and use Refinement, which did they do this turn already? I don't think they did. I don't remember. I'm watching the gameplay back. They go ahead and use concealed cards to definitely draw a few cards. I know they didn't do that, which is why we use these markers. And we're kind of just chatting about why they didn't evolve into the Gardevoir EX or the Shining Arcana Gardevoir, and they're saying, you know, that this is where they tell me, like, oh, all my Curly is a prize, basically. So they were just a little bit, oh, they did use the refinement. Okay, cool. So I'm not losing my mind, right? Watching and doing this is a little challenging sometimes, but they're just gonna go ahead and hit me with that teleportation burst. So I draw for turn, or maybe they just retreated. I don't know, but we evolve into the Bibarel. That's fine. We're gonna oh my goodness, we get to go ahead and attach another water energy for turn. And I get to use Industrious Incisors to draw, I think, 2 or 3 cards. It looks like it's gonna be 3, unless I know I'm not cheating, but we're in a pretty decent spot here. Because now we're going to knock out this Manaphy, and again, it has 70 HP. Hailblade does 60 for each water energy we discard. The Pokemon Go Articuno would have been super, super nice. So we have to discard 2 energies in order to KO, so that's what we do. My opponent draws for turn. They get that Ralts into play. Now they'll be able to Refinement away. Well, first they're going to concealed cards, draw a few extra. There's, I don't even know what they drew. They drew an Artizone, so that's cool. They're going to go ahead and Refinement away the last Mewtwo V Union piece, and they'll be able to summon their big boss monster, which is a little scary, right? It can be really, really scary to deal with that Mewtwo, but they're going to go ahead and Artizone. They're going to look through their deck. They have another Ralts. They have the Memory Skip Ralts, which could be kind of annoying, right? They could Memory Skip my Hailblade, and then I have to retreat into something else. I do have the concealed cards, and the Manaphy's are gone from the game, so we do have the option to go ahead and use Moonlight Shuriken, but they are going to go ahead and hit us, or at least get that Mewtwo into play, which is really, really problematic. At this point in the game, it's really not that big of a deal. They're going to Super Rod in the Gardevoirs, and I don't know if they're going to put any energies in there. Probably not. Well, even though, it depends on what you're going to do, right? If you're going to use the Shining Arcana Gardevoir, then yeah, you want to put the energies in there so you have a better chance of hitting them off of Shining Arcana. If you're going to use the Gardevoir EX, then you leave the energies in the discard so you can accelerate them with Gardevoir EX's ability. So depending on which one you're trying to use that turn might determine, do you put some energies back into the deck. They go ahead, play the Iono. Now they get to draw 4, and I make a gameplay error. I shuffle my hand into my deck because I'm still not used to Iono, and we realize it. And I know the card. You can see I stopped shuffling. I can't believe I did that. We're all laughing at my stupidity. I know the cards that are in my hand, so technically this is a gameplay error. And this would, if you did this in a tournament, it would be an immediate game loss, right? It would be a straight game loss because you broke. It's an irreversible board state. You can see me pulling the cards that I had in my hand. Putting them, I'm just showing them like this. These are the handful of cards that I had. I had like 6 cards in my hand or whatever it was. So I pulled them back out of the deck. I shuffled the deck, even though again, irreversible game state. Technically, this is a game loss. I lost. Yeah, whatever. If I played Iono, if I Iono'd correctly, and put my hand to the bottom of the deck and draw 2 cards, I still have the Radiant Greninja to attack with. I just need a single water energy or a single superior energy retrieval off of this Iono. So I'm going to draw 2 cards plus the top deck, plus I still have the Bibarel to draw an extra 2 cards. So yeah, there you go. Now here comes the Shining Arcana Gardevoir, and they only find 1 psychic energy off of it. And again, this is where maybe they were just trying to find whatever Gardevoir and give themselves the best chance at finding a Gardevoir. But, you know, here comes the show of the prizes, right? There's the 2 Curlias that were prized. Very, very unfortunate. So they do scoop here, even though I made like I said, a game-breaking error. But I did happen to draw a Superior Energy Retrieval off of my 2 cards from the Iono, so that I could Radiant Greninja if I wanted to. But yeah, there's the gameplay. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Found forward. Again, if you did, like, subscribe, comment. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. I want to give a special shout out to the YouTube members: Black Wins, Mike the Highest, Fernando Ortiz, Chien Pao, and Eric N. Thank you all so much for your support. It really means a lot to me. And if you want to become a channel member, you can go ahead and click the channel member button somewhere at the bottom of the page. I'm not really sure. I haven't done it myself.